We're making magic on this week's VFX Breakdown. Welcome to VFX Breakdown, the show where we show you how to do your favorite visual effects from TV and film. In the early 2000s, the Harry Potter films took the world by storm like a pack of dirty dementors.
What?
And now, 20 plus years later, the visual effects still hold up. We take a look at our favorite visual effects shot from Harry Potter, the final fight between Harry and he who must not be named. Let's take a look. Today we show you how we made our own version of this epic Harry Potter wand battle, and I solemnly swear that that tutorial begins right now.
Now for this tutorial, we used a phenomenal plugin from Red Giant called Trapcode. Trapcode is amazing at rendering out high-quality particle and fluid simulations. If you want to learn more about Trapcode, please visit the link in the bio. So I've got my footage of Casey. I'm going to start by creating a null object, and I'm going to move my anchor point of the null object right to the center. And I'm going to rename that Casey Tracker. There we go. Now I'm going to go to my Casey footage, I'm going to go to my tracking tab, and I'm going to hit track motion. So I'm going to move my little tracker out, give it a little bit of space, and place that right on the end of the wand. And I'm going to smash analyze forward. That's going to take a little bit. There we go. So there is my tracking data. So now I'm going to edit my target and make sure that that's on the null of Casey Tracker, and hit OK, and then hit apply, and hit OK on X and Y. There we go. So now I have parented my null to the tracking data from Casey's shot. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to create a brand new solid. Black solid is just fine. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to go up to my Effects and Presets tab, and I'm going to look for Particular. There we go. So now under my Particular tab, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to change that from Uniform to Directional. And now I'm going to take my Y rotation and I'm going to change that to 270, so that way it's pointing out in the same direction as Casey's wand. Now I'm going to switch that to a 3D object. Now let's go ahead, I'm going to change the particles to 2000. Give it a little bit of a thicker stream coming out of the wand. Now I'm going to go down to my Particle tab, and now I'm going to make the seconds down from 3 to 1.1. Give them a little bit of scatter. And now what I want to do is I want to change what's called my size over time. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my pen tool, and I want to make a really nice S-curve right at the end. So this is going to allow the particulars to be very solid in the beginning, but then kind of scatter off right at the end. That looks good. Now I'm going to scroll down to my Displace tab. I'm going to open up Turbulent Field, I'm going to adjust my size a bit, maybe make that to 7, and I'm going to adjust my Turbulent Displace and make that 100. So what this is going to do, it's going to add a little bit of wave to that wand effect. I'll go up and I'll hit my designer on the particular. Scroll to Simulations, and I don't want a flocking simulation, I want a fluid simulation, and I'm going to go with Buoyant Vortex and hit apply. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my tracking data from that position, I'm going to copy all of that, go to my Particle tab, and I'm going to copy all of that position data. So now my wand particular is going to be right exactly where the tracking data needs to go. Just a little bit of adjustment right here in the 3D layer, and I should have something that looks pretty good. Boom, look at that. Now I'm going to go back in my designer, and I'm going to adjust a couple of things. I'm going to up that displace from 100 to, let's say maybe 500. Wow, now look how crazy that wand stream is getting. I'm going to make sure that goes with the wind, and move with wind is at 100%. Now that magic is really moving. But it's a little strange, it kind of looks like a whip. So instead, I'm going to change the velocity from 100 to 2000 and adjust the size as needed, because I want this to really shoot out there. That's looking much better. So I'm going to take my first wand layer, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to make a second wand layer. And now I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking on the second wand layer. I'm going to scroll all the way down to my turbulent, and I'm going to change it from 300 down to 250. There we go. Because I want it to be just a little different. I want to change my size of my wand emission from 2 down to 0.5. So now I just have a little bit of runoff, just like that. Now I'm going to double click, and I'm going to copy that third wand layer over again. I'm going to change the effect position again. I'm going to make that 300. And now I'm going to change the size back to 1. Now here's the biggest difference with this third layer. And this is how we're going to get our particulars. We're going to add what's called spin. I'm going to change the spin amplitude to 150 and the spin frequency to 7. And now look, we got a lot of particles, but a little too many. So I'm going to change those particles down to about 500. I'm going to add some motion blur to those particles. And look, now I have a little bit of wavy particles kind of coming out of the magic of Casey's wand. I'm going to select all those, pre-comp them, and I'm going to name that wand emission. Alright, so now that is starting to look really, really good. I'm going to go ahead and grab an effect called Optical Glow. Well, on Optical Glow, first I'm going to change it to Generate Unmult, and I'm going to change the amount to 40, and then change the size. It's a little too much, maybe down to 10. That's looking pretty good. Maybe 20. 20 sounds pretty good. And now with the color of the Optical Glow, the first color I'm going to use is going to be the standard color that's hitting off of Casey's face. So that purple. So I'm going to go ahead and use my color picker. I'm going to color pick that purple and grab the primary purple in the corner. And now for the inner tint, I'm going to use this as a lighter version of that purple. So I'm going to use my color picker, grab the original purple, and then just go a little bit lighter. And now the outer tint, I want a darker version of that purple. So I'm going to grab the original purple one more time, and then make a darker version. There we go. And now we really see that glow is starting to affect the magic. Gosh, that looks cool. But we're not done quite yet. We're going to go back to our Effects and Presets tab, and I'm going to grab an effect called Vector Blur and drop that onto my comp. I'm going to change Vector Blur from natural to, let's say, directional center. And I'm going to add about 20. And there you have it. It's easy as that. There is our wand emission.
Before we check out this final render, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that bell notification so you never miss out on any of our future uploads. Now, without any further ado, here is our version of the Harry Potter wand battle effect.